there's a need for consciousness, for light on the planet. To do that doesn't mean you have to go out and evangelize. You don't have to uh, give great speeches or anything like that. It's actually as simple as sitting on a park bench, a metaphor for just sitting and letting your light radiate to the planet without trying to change anything.
I'd like to welcome back to the show returning champion, Jeff Hoppy, and his lovely wife, Linda Hoppy. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Thank you. Very good.
We're in
Jeff,
Kona, Hawaii, so yeah, I can't complain.
I mean, you really can because, and thank you for someone has to live there. So I appreciate you
Yeah,
guys taking
yeah,
the bullet for
yeah,
us. We all
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah.
Well, Jeff, last time you were here, it was a very wonderful conversation you and I had, and the episode kind of went a little crazy, and people really loved what you were saying. And then we said, hey, why don't we get together and see if Adamus wants to come out and play? And you're like, yes, I think he might.
Yeah, I think he might. Yeah, I was amazed and delighted that wow, the number of viewers on it, and you've got this great audience base, and they're eating it up. I mean, congratulations! What a job you're doing.
Truly a
I
new wave.
I appreciate that. No, it's like I said before to you. I'm just trying to be of service to people and get this information out to people who might have not been able to hear it before. And I'm really looking forward to talking to Adamus today because it's a rarity that he comes out like this publicly. He doesn't do it very often, correct?
Not very often. Usually in interviews like this, I don't channel. We had such a good connection last time, and I could feel Adamus over my shoulder, almost wanting to push me over, saying, "Hey, let me get in there." So, no, I really don't. We do obviously for our
Sure.
monthly web casts and other things, but very rarely. And part of it is with an audience, a new audience in particular. I like to make sure that they understand this is a channel. There's a very different energy in it. And it's
Absolutely.
not just the words, but
Right.
just the energy coming out. And I ask all the viewers now to just take a deep breath and feel into it. It can knock you sideways sometimes, knock
Oh,
me sideways.
I've interviewed close to 30 or 40 channelers at this point. I
Wow.
understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Even through Zoom, you can feel
Yeah.
the energy of the words coming through. Not just the profoundness of the words, but the energy coming through.
Exactly.
It's something, no question.
Yeah. And when I was trained by Tobias, the guy I used to channel before Adamus, he trained me how to use my voice not just to speak, but to project energy. And like you said, even with Zoom or a video recording, it still comes through, and it's very different than when just me and Jeffrey are speaking.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. So, are you guys ready? Would you like to jump
I'm
into it?
totally ready. Adamus is ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
I'm holding off for it. Let me drink some water.
yeah, yeah. A little coffee.
Let me
Yeah.
get ready. Let me get ready. Yeah, I'm ready. So, can you tell the audience what the process is? Because I know it's a little bit
Sure.
different for every channel.
Sure. Generally, what we do is Linda does the breathing in. That gives me that a couple of minutes or so to really connect with Adamus. While I'm doing that, I hear Linda start to breathe, and then it just all goes away. And I'm just connected with Adamus. I allow him into my reality, physical, mental. Uh, I'm very aware of what's going on. He does. I'm not like a deep trance channeler. I'm very aware of it. But and then as Linda's still doing the breathing, and he and I actually just chit chat. About could be about anything. The weather or what it's like in the other realms or whatever. And it's just our time to really connect our energy. And then suddenly I feel almost like this little shock, and we're off and running. And he jumps in.
All right. So let's start the process, guys. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
great.
Okay. So simply get comfortable wherever you are, whether you're laying on a sofa, sitting in a chair. Just make sure you're really comfortable as we begin with the good deep breath, the conscious breath of life. We breathe all the time, but this is that breath where you really notice and are aware of your consciousness Allow yourself to feel the energies with each breath, opening to the highest potentials for you. Take this good deep breath. Feel into it. Feel Adamus. He's here for each of us. Breathe it in. He's here with every breath. Be with that good deep breath. That breath of allowing and flow. Take the good deep breath. Breathe presence. We are here. We are here.
I am that I am. Adamus of sovereign domain. I come from the energies of the beloved Saint Germain, which many of you may be familiar with, also pronounced more accurately Saint Germain. But Caldra, my messenger here, also known as Jeffrey, he sometimes falls in and says the Saint Germain, but I do love the Saint Germain. I come from Saint Germain with the name Adamus or Adamus to work with those on the planet right now, especially those that call themselves Shambro with the Crimson Circle, but others as well who are coming from their awakening and going into their realization to stay here on the planet in the embodied physical form for the very work that, well, you agreed to do, to be here to shine your light on the planet. So that is my introduction to myself. A delight to be here with you on your show. And I have to say, Alex, that you see, we have this Ascended Masters Club. It's made up of all of the Ascended Masters, and about 11,000 now in total. And we do sit around sometimes in the evenings and watch some of your programs. We find that it's bringing a tremendous amount of light to the planet right now in this wonderful interview format, but it's so critical to the planet right now to have this light, especially with so many humans now coming into their awakening, and also with the developments that are coming with technology. The consciousness, the light is so important right now on the planet. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. My first question to you is, can you tell me a little bit about your former incarnation as Saint Germain?
Absolutely. I can tell you a lot about it, but I'll keep it brief. In that lifetime, I was born to a Spanish and Portuguese parents who actually weren't married, and my birth was foretold by some of the astrologers, some of the mystics of the time. It was an arranged birth, an arranged marriage. When I was about 7 years old, I went off to Romania, to the area of Transylvania, to the mystery schools that were run by the Ricazzi family at the time. And there I received extensive training in everything from the occult to science, mathematics, astrology, just everyday life even. But we had a different type of learning. There was about 20 or so others in the schools that I was in. We didn't study mathematical tables. We didn't have to memorize history. We literally felt into the energy of the books that we were given. We allowed ourselves, for instance, in history to transport ourselves through time back into that time to really grasp it. For things like mathematics, we felt into the energy of math rather than just the writing out the equations, and very, very unique training. We also learned things like alchemy. We learned about nature, but all in a very, very different way than is learned in the schools today. At about 20 years old, I received a knock on the door of my room one night, and they had my satchel, my suitcase, ready to go, and I knew it was time. I was being asked to leave, and I left with the clothes on my back and a few goods in the bag, and nothing else. No money, no direction or anything. And this was perfect. I knew it was coming, so there was no fear, but now it was time to go into life. Now it was time to be amongst others. I found that I never had to have a job. all the money, all the gold or jewels I could ever want were always there. I ended up with numerous estates all throughout Europe, horses, teams of dogs, all the best. And the point here was I never had to work. You see, it comes to you if you allow it. It comes to you in various ways. I would walk into a village and find that somebody was very sick and needed healing, which I would do free of charge, of course, but I would get paid very handsome sums. Or I would consult with governments, businesses at the time, and they were more than happy to pay me handsomely for the work I did. Money was never an issue, nor it should be for any of you listening. Now, I feel some eyeballs rolling here. Well, Adamus, you don't understand, but I do. I absolutely understand. When you get over the whole abundance issue in your life, the poverty consciousness, it comes to you, and in various ways that you couldn't possibly plan, but it's just there. So, in that lifetime, one of my main goals was reuniting Europe, trying to bring the governments and the countries together, as well as getting over the old feudal system, the monarchy. Its time had come. I could feel it in France. I knew it was coming. I lived in that last lifetime in the 18th century, so I knew it was time. And some of the courts, the royalty, understood why it was time to step down, why it was time to create the democracies. Others did not. There were times when I had to run from the particular castles barely with my life. Other times they were very, very accommodating. But in that lifetime, I spent a lot of time working with heads of government to get over the whole system of peasantry, which was very prominent at the time. Part of my surprise was that I found that many of the peasants actually didn't want to be released from that system. There was a comfort in it, even though it was miserable. They weren't ready for their freedom. And this was one of my great surprises. They wanted that lord over them to tell them what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And even though they complained about it, for them it was more comfortable than being out on their own. I made numerous trips to the United States of America, working with the founding fathers and helping to develop some of the energetic designs for this country, for the Constitution, and work closely also with the various groups that were helping to design this country's philosophies and energies. So it was quite a lifetime. In that lifetime, in my last few years, I moved off to the north of Germany, where I saw nobody for several years. I had my dogs, everything else I'd given away. But I spent time writing, reflecting, and knowing it'd be my last lifetime on the earth. Collecting myself and saying goodbye to this great planet. So that's the short story of my last lifetime on the planet as Adamus Saint-Germain.
Now, how can we find inner peace and happiness in this lifetime?
There are several different ways to answer that. The first and the simplest way is to allow. To allow. What that means is that instead of fighting for things, instead of trying to figure it out, instead of trying to overcome your issues and trying to make yourself perfect, you simply allow your divinity. Allow your divinity into your life. Now, it seems almost counterproductive for most people. They feel they have to constantly work on themselves, to refine themselves, to make themselves a better human. But becoming a perfect human is absolutely impossible for a reason. It was never designed that you could perfect your human self, because then you would get stuck here on the planet. The planet is designed as a place for experience, for ultimately coming to the answer to the question, who am I? So finding inner peace is about allowing an acceptance of yourself. It means I am that I am. This is something I've been saying for centuries and centuries. Feel into it. I am. I exist. That in itself is peace and grace. Happiness, it's rather elusive, and it depends on how you define happiness. Humans always talk about happiness, but really don't know what that is. They don't really know what they're pursuing. So happiness is almost like the carrot in front of the horse. You talk about it, you think about it, but very, very few people are ever actually happy. Now, you can be very peaceful, at ease, and in grace with yourself. And when you are actually, happiness is irrelevant. It's a human condition that's not really so important. It's that inner peace, that where you find yourself, the realization I am that I am, that's important. When you get to that point of realization, many other things go out the window as well. The whole concept of abundance, the whole concept of healing, they're no longer relevant. It just is. It's always there. You're no longer working at it or efforting it. It all comes to you. And again, I can feel some people shaking their heads, and the whole concept of healing, they're no longer relevant. It just is. It's always there. You're no longer working at it or efforting it. It all comes to you. And again, I can feel some people shaking their heads, and even Calder is saying, yeah, but it's hard at times. And I realize that, but when you allow your divinity, your true self, your soul, to join you as the human here in this reality, everything comes to you, everything else. And all of these things that you've been working towards, struggling with, fighting the inner demons in the mind, the outer demons of the world around you, of things like jobs and health, they suddenly just go away. And there comes really the tricky time. When you come to this point of realization, which is actually a very natural process, you can't really work on your realization, you allow it. It's not even the human that desires the realization, it's the soul. The human is here to experience, and ultimately to experience realization, but it's really the more the soul's desire for realization. Once you get to that point, the difficult thing, the challenge is, why stay on the planet? You've come to realization, you've concluded 1,000 or more lifetimes, why stay? You realize how harsh this planet is at times, and how beautiful, but you realize how The physical body, it has its aches and pains. It has its habit of getting older. You suddenly think to yourself, why should I stay? I've completed my journey here. I am that I am. Then there's that moment or moments of wondering, should I leave? Should I stay or leave? And part of my job with each and every one of you is to say, dear ones, please stay. Please stay. And it's fine if you decide to come over into the other realms. We'll have a great grand party. But right now, the planet needs people, humans with light, with consciousness. The planet is at a beautiful, not a scary, but a beautiful tipping point where you have this technology like you've never had before. It's quantum technology, and it's just really now birthing on the planet. I mean, you've had your computers, you have some degree of technology, but right now it's bursting at the seams. The advent of artificial intelligence, of robotics, of nanotechnology is going to change the very face of this planet in the next 30 years. By about 2050, there will be this thing called singularity, where it goes off the charts. You couldn't even predict, not even the best psychic, not even me, an ascended master, can predict, because it simply goes off the charts. But to counterbalance that right now, there's a need for consciousness, for light on the planet. To do that doesn't mean you have to go out and evangelize. You don't have to give great speeches or anything like that. It's actually as simple as sitting on a park bench, a metaphor for just sitting and letting your light radiate to the planet without trying to change anything. Because the moment you try to change others, try to change the planet, it will try to change you. But if you are just shining your light out onto the planet, that enables other humans who have not yet come into awakening. It enables them to see potentials that they might have never seen before, and then it's up to them what they want to choose. Thank you. Calder's telling me I'm running long on my answers, but I love doing this.
Well, let me ask you then, just on the technology standpoint, where do you think AI is going and how will it affect us here?
In my last lifetime as as Saint-Germain, I wrote a book, and that book was called "The Time of the Machines." Now, I called your computers, your technology, the machines, but it was really about, I actually transported myself into the year 2020, and I looked around, and I saw what was happening with we call them your mobile devices, your computers, the birth of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going to come to the point where it's running the world. Now, the question is how well, and how is it going to run the world? How much are humans going to give their own freedom away to artificial intelligence? At what point does AI go from being just regular artificial intelligence to general artificial intelligence? That's where artificial intelligence has the human-like qualities now equal to the human. Right now, it's much faster in terms of thinking, but it's not as sentient. It's not as sensual as the human. But we're only a few years away from that. Next step is super artificial intelligence, where, well, you're already doing it, where you sit down at your computer and it composes a poem for you, where it does artwork for you. Pretty soon, it's going to be cooking meals for you using nanotechnology or 3D printing. Pretty soon, in this world, everything will be run by artificial intelligence, by computers. It's not a doom and gloom scenario. It could be very helpful for the human species at this time. The human species is long overdue for a change, an upgrade. You've been running with the same biological qualities as you have been for a long, long time. It's time now for an upgrade. Now, we're not talking about giving yourself over to AI, not at all, but the ability of technology to improve the physical body, your biology. This biology is the house of your soul, your spirit on the planet. It's time to evolve that. Now, you can evolve it with technology, I mean, literally with implants, or at some point actually infusing your consciousness into a robotic device.
Mm.
However, with the work I'm doing and the people I'm working with, we're taking a bit different direction. Instead of robotics, artificial intelligence, things like that, it's now time to actually bring in your light body. I prefer to call it the free energy body, but most of you refer to it as the light body. The light body does not have all this complex communication that your current body. It doesn't have billions and billions of neurons and nerve endings and cells and molecules. It's much simpler. It can emulate your physical body. You can take on attributes, and you never completely drop your physical body, but suddenly you're working in tandem with your light body. And the question is, how is AI going to influence things? But even with the ability to now integrate with your light body, now you have a way of balancing the technology, making sure that, for you anyway, it's not abused. For you, that you have a greater opportunity now to even allow your physical body to heal itself in a way that it couldn't do before. So the technology starts becoming a part of every part of your life, including your ultimately being with your light body.
Now, what is the nature of the universe and our place in it?
What you call your physical universe is not what science and physicists really currently think it is. It's not this great expansive thing that goes on for hundreds of millions of light years. The universe is actually circular. In the universe, there really is no such thing as time nor space. So if you draw the conclusion on that, the universe is actually an illusion. You're within this illusion, a very real illusion, but you're within it on this planet Earth. The planet Earth is, I'm going to say, the most advanced of any living planet or any living civilization out there. There are no beings greater than a human being. Now, a lot of humans like to externalize. They're looking for an external.
No.
External God or an external civilization that has all the answers. They don't. There's some civilizations that have a tremendous amount of intelligence, but they don't have the heart that humans have. There's no being greater than a human being at all. And here on the planet Earth, up to this time, is the only place where somebody, a soul being, can come, go through experiences of a lifetime, and then ascend. Go through realization and ascension, ultimately becoming what you would call an ascended master. But it's really a being who has found the inner answer to the question, who am I? And the very question, who am I, is what caused the soul beings to go searching, to create this universe, to create this planet. One who completes that comes to the answer within, who am I? And the answer, by the way, is I am that I am. Then they are considered an ascended being and a sovereign, totally sovereign being. But This planet, planet Earth, is the only place where any of the ascended masters have ever gone to go through their experience. There's not greater places in the universe. There's not smarter places. And even those who think that the aliens are coming to visit, it is simply yourself from the future and sometimes the past. It's not alien beings. It's your own self. You're crossing through time. You're being visited by yourself, and they're really not little metal ships, but the humans, their mind doesn't understand how it works, so they perceive it as some spacecraft. It's not. It's your light coming to visit you from the future. So this universe, this physical universe, and the planet Earth are the most special places. There's nothing greater than this planet, than the humans that are on it, and this incredible universe.
Well, let me ask you then, because you said this was kind of like a simulation, if you will, an illusion
Yes.
that we're in. Um, when an ascended master is still incarnated, their self-realization or enlightenment allows them to see a much larger picture, almost see behind the curtain of the illusion, and hence allows them to be able to do things that seem miraculous to us, but it's
Yes.
just part of the process. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it's just physics. That's all it is. It's nothing magical. It's only magical when you don't understand it, but other than that, it's just physics. And the physics are very simple. I really want to make this point that, first of all, there's your consciousness. It's the core of everything. It's the I am. Within consciousness is no energy itself, but yet the consciousness, the passion of the consciousness creates this thing called energy. It goes forth from the consciousness. The energy then, all energy, it is your energy. It's nobody else's. There's no universal energy field. It is your energy. And the energy is nothing more than communication. That's all it is. It's not a force, it's not a power, it's not electricity. At its core, it's not even light. It becomes light later when you as a soul being choose to do something with your energy. It's in a place that is known as the Devir. The Devir is the holy of holies. It's your energy in a neutral state, waiting to serve you. Once you allow the energy to serve you, which most people don't, because they think energy is an outside force, but when you allow energy to serve you, it opens everything up. You start to realize the effects of energy turned into light, how electromagnetics work on this planet, how gravity works, how things are held in by gravity, but you start to realize in the physics that gravity isn't just a force that pulls things down to the ground. Gravity also holds in all thoughts, all beliefs, all memories. It brings it together. But gravity can also work the other way. It can expand you. It can open you up. It can literally change the outcome of things that have happened in the past. What many people consider to be history is not set in stone. The past can change just as much as your present can change. And literally, when somebody goes into realization in this lifetime, what's happening is every one of their past lives now, even though you think it's done and complete, that past lifetime is dead, it's not. It's very living and fluid. Every one of your past lifetimes is now actually going into realization. They don't realize it, they don't know what's happening, but suddenly everything is changing. Time itself is changing for them. Because as you go into your realization, your enlightenment in this lifetime, every one of your past lives is also coming into realization. It's all brought together by the soul, all integrated together. All the stories of the past now are integrated into you, into the soul. So there's some very, actually what I consider to be simple physics in all of this, but yet humans tend to make it so complex. And the first thing they do is always put things outside of themselves. The kingdom is already within you. And I know many of you are thinking, well, I've looked and it's not there. It is there. It's the I am, I exist. Stop going outside of yourself for any answers. So, and I could elaborate on physics for a long time.
Fair enough. We'll do another episode on physics alone. Can you tell people, because there's so much talk of enlightenment with the Buddha and Jesus and other ascended masters, Yogananda, and so on, that found self-realization. In your opinion, what is the path to self-realization?
Well, the first thing I'll say, and it's a path that most of the other ascended masters, the other 11,000 that have come from the planet, have followed, was a path of suffering. I'm saying no more suffering, no more suffering like the Buddha, no more suffering like so many of the ascended masters. Your template, your standard for becoming an ascended being on Earth always involves suffering. We talk about it at the Ascended Masters Club, and there really is such a thing. We talk about why the suffering. Why did we go through it? Well, because that was something that was instilled in so many by the churches, by the governments. You have to suffer. You have to do penance. You're a sinner, which you are not at all. But suffering becomes woven right into the very fabric of this whole concept of enlightenment. I prefer to call it realization. I would like you, Alex, and all of you who are listening to this, let's drop that whole concept of suffering, religious, spiritual suffering. It's not needed. You don't need to starve yourself. As a matter of fact, one going into realization should eat whatever they want to eat. You don't need to be on your hands and knees with prayer or with begging or with your own penance. There's no need for the suffering. So you put that aside now. And what it is simply saying, I'm ready. I'm ready for my last lifetime on the planet. I'm ready to complete the cycles of incarnations. I've learned everything that I'm going to learn. And now I'm ready to take everything from every past life and this lifetime, bring it to the altar of my soul and put it there. Leave it there. All the junk, all the baggage, all the things I think I did wrong, plus all the good stuff, I'm going to leave it at the altar. And now the soul comes in and brings it all to wisdom. It takes every experience and it distills it to wisdom. It filters out all the details and all the unnecessary things and literally takes everything that you've ever done and distills it to pure wisdom. And that wisdom then is available to you as the human if you choose to continue staying on the planet. Now you have the wisdom. And the wisdom is such that you accept yourself for all that you are. You don't keep processing, thinking about all the bad things you've done. You don't keep the counseling. You don't need to do healing. You don't need to do any of that. You've got the wisdom now. You don't ever have to worry about repeating something bad that you did or blowing up the world because of your big energy. You have the wisdom. So it's really leaving everything at that altar when you're ready. Now the soul will never tell you that you have to do it. The soul will never say, Alex, you have to turn left or right. That's up to you. But when you're ready and say, okay, I'm truly ready to go to the next level of embodied realization, you leave all that at the altar of the soul and let it be distilled to wisdom. You take a deep breath. I am that I am. I am realized. And that's it.
Since you were talking about the Ascended Masters Club, what is it like for a soul when they are not incarnated?
It all depends. It's different for an ascended master as it is for somebody not yet realized. Those not yet realized that are simply in between lifetimes, generally they go to a place that we call the near earth realms. It's not heaven. It's very similar to earth. It's just not physical. And there they continue to act out. They continue to search, or they can, for instance, if one is a priest and dies in this lifetime, a lot of times they go into the big monastery in the sky with other priests, and they do priestly things until one day they're just going about their business in the other realms, and suddenly they're sucked back down into earth for another lifetime. It's their karma sucking them back down. Oftentimes somebody dies, they're an alcoholic. They'll find themselves in a bar in the near earth realms, and they could be there for years, decades, hundreds of years. They're continuing to act out, but it's a non-physical realm, but they don't really even realize that. That's unfortunately where most humans go now when they cross over. An ascended master, now you're sovereign. An ascended master, you can do anything, go anywhere. We often say you're in your third circle, you're in your sovereignty, and you can just be. Now, to the human, they say, well, that sounds boring. Don't you have to be doing something? No, you don't at all. There is a grandness in just being. There's a passion. I am that I am, and it's a constant state of orgasm, of sensual feeling that comes over you. Now, we play a bit of a game. We have an Ascended Masters Club where we gather. We tell stories about our lifetimes, and you know, for a long time, the number of ascended masters was just in the thousands. Now it's grown, it's about 11,000, but we got really tired of the same old stories. We couldn't wait until a new ascended master came over, at least some new stories. We relive a lot of our experiences, like watching a movie almost. We talk about the various groups that we work with. I would say at least 2/3 of the ascended masters are working with humans, whether in a group or as individuals. We can create our ascended masters club to look like anything. For me, it looks like a huge castle, with club-like qualities, with great food and drink and music. But it's because I'm choosing it to look like that. We don't have an agenda about Earth, but we're there to assist when somebody calls us. We would never interfere with the ways of the humans, of governments, of wars, or anything like that. But when we are called, we're there in service. And when we are called, mostly we go just to bring light, just to shine light. Now, some of us ascended masters, we work with channelers like Cauldre and others to assist in bringing information to the planet. But go back to what I said before. The human is the grandest being of all beings, and it is only one who has been in the human form, taken the human path, that can really be there in empathy and compassion to help others, humans. You can do that as an angelic being, no longer on a planet, as an ascended master. But I don't take kindly to some of the non-human types that come to interfere, because they're not as grand as the human itself. There is no other civilization that's more heart advanced than the humans. It was actually humans discovered love on this planet. It didn't exist in the other realms. It was here on Earth that love was first experienced. So how grand is the human?
Now, what is the role of meditation and prayer in the spirit in the spiritual journey?
Early on, it gets you focused. Early on, it helps you to start connecting with something other than your human self. Prayer gets you to start realizing what you are choosing. As long as you're praying for yourself, a word of advice about prayer: never pray for anyone else, just for yourself. It's a form of witchcraft. The moment you start praying for somebody, you're putting something on them that is not honoring their journey. Now you say, but somebody is sick, they need healing. Bring your light there, but don't pray over them. Bring your light so they can see other potentials that are available. But the moment you start praying, even the moment you start praying for world peace, it sounds good, and I realize you're coming from a place of compassion, but now you're inflicting your desires on a planet. The planet, the humans may want to be going through all these games is terrible.
Стесняемся и не получится. Нет. Feel free to pay me money. Не мешает. Feel free to pay me. I'm okay. I'm fine. Okay. I agree with you. Hmm.